All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We wanted to bring you up to date with respect to Pinnacle Bank Arena and its operations overall. I think it's very fair to say that the first year of the Pinnacle Bank Arena has been characterized by tremendous success. World-class entertainment has made its way to the capital city. The list reads like a who's who of music in the entertainment world. Jay-Z, Cher, Elton John, Pink, Jason Aldean, the Zac Brown Band, the Eagles, and Paul McCartney, as well as family shows like WWE, the Harlem Globetrotters, and Monster Jam. And let's not forget about basketball. The anchor tenant, the University of Nebraska, has had a great first year in its new home with a women's Big Ten championship and men making the NCAA tournament. The boys and girls high school tournament was a tremendous success. The surrounding West Haymarket development has far suppressed expectations, with a corporate headquarters, residential living, restaurants, and entertainment venues exceeding the projected pace of growth. We thought it would take 5 years for the first approximately $100 million in private investment to occur. It happened within a year. The arena and West Haymarket have brought new energy and excitement to Lincoln and put us on the national map. A TV broadcast tracking service estimates that more than 6 million people have heard or seen the Pinnacle Bank Arena on television. That creates publicity and exposure that generates potentially new business and new opportunities of many different kinds. Now we have an ending for the arena's first year's success story, and I'm proud to announce that the arena's year-end operating budget finished in the black for its inaugural year. Revenue will exceed expenses by $32,714. No property tax subsidy will be necessary for the operating budget. We have learned many valuable lessons and made some tough choices to get to this moment. Tom Lorenz and the SMG team had to cut staff and make operational changes to ensure expenses were manageable. They've continually looked creatively at the whole situation and have done a great job. They were able to make those changes without undermining the experience for those who attended arena events. The JPA board moved a sponsorship revenue stream from the JPA budget to the arena budget to better reflect that the arena operating budget generated those very funds. Since the 750,000 people who attended arena events generated this revenue, it was more appropriate to apply those proceeds to the operations side. This is consistent with the practice of other cities that have similar arenas. The voter-approved tax revenues of the JPA will continue to exceed estimates. For the most recent fiscal year, the JPA grossed over $14 million in occupation taxes, an amount that our original projections did not foresee happening until the year 2021. That's how conservative we were. And that conservative budgeting approach has paid big dividends, protecting taxpayers from shortfalls and enabling sponsorship revenues to be deposited in the operating budget where they belong. These financial successes represent hard work and prudent stewardship by a large number of people. I want to recognize my colleagues on the West Market Joint Public Agency, City Councilman Doug Emery, and University of Nebraska Regent Tim Clare. Tim is here today and will be speaking shortly. The city's finance director, Steve Hupka, has done his usual outstanding job of keeping on top of the finances. The Pinnacle Bank Arena Advisory Board of Mike Ayers, Tom Ball, Bob Caldwell, Jim O'Hanlon, Mike Stroop, Sharon Wary, and Board Chairman Dave McBride have provided the oversight and scrutiny to protect the public. Tom Lorenz and the SMG staff have worked hard to keep expenses down, as I indicated earlier, and to keep profits up. It has truly been a team approach overall. The overwhelming success of the Pinnacle Bank Arena is a shining example, I believe, of what we can accomplish as a city when we work together to create a community vision, find consensus on financing, and put talented people in place to make it happen. It again demonstrates that when the people of Lincoln make up their minds, there is nothing that we cannot achieve. That bodes well not only for the future of Pinnacle Bank Arena, but in solving the challenges we face in other areas such as public safety, roads, and more. In short, continued success is ours for the taking. With that, Tim Clare. Tim, would you like to say a few words?
Sure, I'll say a couple of things, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
And I will be brief, and for those of you who've heard me before, that's quite a comment. I think this whole project has been a success from the very start. When you consider the fact that the people of Lincoln voted to put this arena in the West Haymarket project together in the first place and approved it, from the work that was done to ensure local jobs, investment in local community, getting the project done on time with contingency funds available at the end when those were budgeted to be used towards the project. When you consider the fact that we engaged the public, 91% of the people that were working on this project were from the state of Nebraska, and now to come full circle and at the end of this see that it is finishing in a positive cash position, it's a positive sign. I have no doubt that early on when we were in the construction phase of the arena that this helped during the tough economic times, the fact that we are giving and awarding contracts to local companies and we are employing local people to work on this project. That helped during those tough economic times. But I also have no doubt that this project and the success that it has had has contributed to the success of Nebraska's economy since its construction, since it has been completed, and the opening of the arena as well. So I'm very excited about the project, honored to be a part of it, and pleased with the performance that we've observed. Thank you.
Okay, and as I indicated earlier, Dave's here this morning from the Pinnacle Bank Arena Advisory Board.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of comments or observations from the standpoint of the advisory board. Our board has been in place working with the arena management team from SMG since before the arena opened. And I think the financial results here at the end of the year are certainly a validation of what the board would consider to be a remarkably successful initial year of operation. Our board has been engaged with the staff from the start of development of budget projections, and I know that as part of a new venture like this, it's sort of like shooting in the dark to come up with many of the initial projections. We felt all the way along that the assumptions and projections used in development of the budget were certainly conservative and prudent and realistic. We meet on a regular basis with the SMG staff to review the operations of the arena and spend about half of that meeting or more each time talking about the financial performance and other aspects of what goes on. I would certainly give a lot of credit to Tom and the staff for the job they've done in managing the building this first year. It's difficult, I think, on a month-to-month basis as our board looks at the financial performance and discusses the financial results. Sometimes to have a clear picture. One of the things that has been that we've been reminded of as a board repeatedly through this first year is that you need to look at the performance in the context of a broad view. there are a number of questions, and a lot of the discussion during each of our meetings has had to do with the fact that some months, based on the activity at the arena during that particular month, financial results may look really good. Other months, if it happens to be a month where there hasn't been as much activity, the results look a lot different. So much of what what the advisory board discusses with the staff has to do with looking ahead to the context of not only where we are currently, but what's coming up in the future. And I think Tom and the staff have done a great job adjusting to everything. So we've been very pleased to be part of the process. Again, commend Tom and the staff for the job they've done, not only with the financial management of the building, but with the overall operations from our perspective and the comments that we reflect at our meetings from the public. I think the input that we've gotten from the people in the community who use the building has been consistently positive. It's been a great experience for the people who have been using the arena and have benefited from this, and we just consider it to be a tremendous success.
Thank you very much. Okay, questions?
Are we gonna get the year-end figures?
Pardon me?
Are we gonna get the year-end figures?
Oh, sure, they're available to you. Why don't you pass them out, Steve?
So, for the whole year, what's the total amount that the JPA transferred to, the budget to help you finish the year in the black?
Yeah, Steve, why don't you come up here and respond to the details so that Dina has the exact figures.
The JPA transferred $750,000 in this first fiscal year. And I think the one item that was done mid-year was the additional $465 that was part of that $750. The pouring rights were always intended to go there from the very beginning, which were $285,000.
Now, the JPA in its recent meeting on the budget did not vote, I mean, that budget retains that IMG sponsorship money that was moved mid-year. Is that gonna require, will there need to be another vote by the JPA next year then, if money starts to?
No, the JPA budget for this current fiscal year, the 14-15 fiscal year, has already moved that money to the operations from IMG. So that's already been taken care of for this upcoming fiscal year, or current fiscal year.
But for the next one, will it take another vote?
It'll take another vote in August or September of 15, yes.
If necessary?
If necessary, and if that's the direction the board chooses to go.
Okay, so for the current fiscal year, the JPA, including the pouring rights money, is sending about 1.1 million, 1.2 million?
I think it's $1,020,000 is the exact number.
And does the arena operations expect that will be an ongoing amount of money that will be coming from the JPA into the operations?
Well, for the 14-15 fiscal year it is, and, we'll take one fiscal year at a time, and, I think some of the things we're learning, if I was to make a guess, I'd say yes, but that remains to be seen, and that remains to be a decision of the JPA board as well.
Don Hers, the former finance director who has the kind of flow chart, the computer chart, one of the emails he suggests is that to transfer the sponsorship money in the short term is fine, but for the long term, he thinks it's dangerous. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, first of all, that whole model that he's got is based on a very conservative projection for the occupation tax. And he projected 2% increase every year in the occupation tax. The most recent year was 8%. So if that trend continues, that will more than alleviate any concerns about the sponsorship money.
Because if you were to keep transferring about that much as he was projecting, it would add up to like $40 million or something?
Over the course of 35 years or thereabouts, yeah, it would.
Do you know when he made that statement, whether or not he had tinkered with his computer model to show the latest trends with the occupation tax?
That's going back quite a while. I'm not really sure where we were at in our discussions, but we were talking very frequently about that at the time.
Who made the budget projections that, these are based on? Who came up with those projections?
SMG puts together the budget projections for the operation of the arena. We do downstairs the operation of the JPA. The long-term financial model was put together by Don and is still maintained by Don.
But just for the arena, that was SMG?
Yes, and there was oversight, and as Dave mentioned, input from others as well, and we in the finance department had a little bit of input into that as well.
Is there any report or anything indicating how many other arenas also are able to use the sponsorship income?
I don't have that information, and I don't know if Tom or Trent might, but I certainly don't have that.
Well, have you guys considered moving some other revenue streams? You mentioned that other cities give the sponsorship revenue to the facility, but other cities also give other revenue streams to the facility. Should maybe the JPA talk about that, or?
I don't think we need to at this point. We've got kind of a unique arrangement with this joint public agency, building the arena and servicing the debt, and the city operating the arena with a third-party contractor. So I don't think at this point that discussion is needed.
Can we get, I don't know if that's in here, but can we get monthly cash flow worksheets?
Well, actually, I don't know. I think Trent might have to help me on this, but he does his accounting on an accrual basis. And so the cash flow is different than the financial statements that he prepares and shows the board. And it takes into account all the receivables and payables and accrued liabilities and that type of thing. So the cash basis accounting isn't very useful for a monthly picture, and I think that's accurate, Trent.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, can you tell us how many months it was operating in the red and how many in the black, about half and half?
Well, as we went through the year, I think one of the things we realized in the first year of operation is that there's going to be a period of time during the basketball season where if you measure it just at that point in time at the end of the basketball season, as Dave referred to, it's going to look different than it does at the end of the fiscal year, and it's going to look different at the end of November probably than it's going to look at the end of March. And I think with 35 years of basketball, I think after this first year, we know that that's probably going to be a trend that we see every year. And it's just going to be probably a question of how many events can be scheduled during the basketball season that offset some of that. But those are some of the lessons we learned this first year.
So is it fair to say that having the basketball team there, it almost kind of hurts the bottom line?
No, I don't think so, because if you look at the whole picture, we wouldn't have an arena that size. We wouldn't be drawing Paul McCartney and Elton John if we didn't have UNL basketball and an arena that was built for that.
The city also this year loaned the operations budget $500,000 with a payback in the fiscal year after this. When does it look like they'll be able to pay it back?
It depends on the success of the operations over the next couple of years. Every month, there are hundreds of thousands of dollars of receivables that they have, and they also have payables. So, a lot of times it depends on, if you look at any point in time, if they have $500,000 of receivables that haven't come in, well, that's cash that they don't have available to spend, but doesn't mean they don't have that income. So it'll depend on a lot of things between now and 2016.
There was also a pre-opening loan of $200,000 that the JPA is paying back. I don't remember what that was for.
That was a $2 million pre-opening loan from SMG to the JPA, and that largely went for furniture, fixture, and equipment. And the JPA is paying that back in $200,000 increments plus a very minimal interest rate over the next 10 years.
So if you had to do anything different when you were coming up with projections years ago, is there anything you would have done differently? Maybe we could ask Lorenz, I don't know, but he has to pinch the pennies.
Well, I think the things that were somewhat surprised with the cost of the energy for the building. We hope to generate more from the festival lot parking, for example. I think there's lessons been learned about the pricing of concessions, what type of food packages can be sold in the suites, and over the course of a long season, how many of those packages might be sold. Just about every area, I think there's lessons that have been learned. And those adjustments were largely made when we put together the 14-15 budget for the operations.
So will the concession prices change? Or?
I'd have to bring Tom up here for that one, if he wishes to come up here.
Yes, concession prices are always adjustable. Some up, some down. Sizes of portions, all those things are variable. Certainly depends on sometimes the performance that you're working with or what people's trends and tastes are.
So it can fluctuate.
It can, and it should. It should adjust to what the market demands.
When will the utility costs from the DEC get down to a level that you thought it was gonna be in the first place?
I don't know if they'll ever get down to the original projections, but we're putting in a heating and cooling system controls software system to make adjustments, which should help some. But the whole concept of the DEC is the more people that are on the system, the lower the cost for all the users. And as the area builds out and more customers come on the DEC, that'll not only help the arena, but it'll help the other customers that are on that system as well.
But you don't have any idea when it will be built out enough? Are you paying higher rates than you would for LES? I can't remember which one is.
Well, first of all, this is heating and cooling. It's not electricity, so it wouldn't be LES. And I honestly don't know whether at the moment those rates are higher than would be paid if they didn't have the DEC or not. But obviously it's there, it's built, and those buildings down there are all using it, dependent upon it.
Good to go? All right, well, thank you all for coming down and being a part of this and communicating, helping us communicate to the public. Appreciate it. Thank you. Good job.